Hello and welcome to another edition of CM Meets, and today I am genuinely delighted to be joined by Tim Collett, Head of Live at WRG, a division of the Creative Engagement Group. How are you, Tim?
I'm really good. Thank you, Martin. It's lovely to be here. Thanks so much, mate.
Good stuff. Now, you have been in touch this week with information about your latest report. Now, it's called the Insights Report, and you've been out there speaking to a whole raft of clients. Tell us, who have you spoken to create this report, and what's your sort of top line summary?
Sure. So I suppose let's dial it back to kind of why we started this report in the first place. And this was about looking at ourselves as individuals. And one of the things that we all agreed was coming back to live events when it is legally allowed to do so may not necessarily be the easiest thing for us to do as human beings. So you know what it's like. You're sitting there, you're watching TV, you're watching a movie, and you see a group of people, you see someone embrace, and you start to feel a little bit uncomfortable because we've been trained to being kept apart in this world. We've developed habits. So we wondered if other people felt like this, and wondered how we're going to overcome those things when we start bringing people back into a live environment. So what we did is we invited a number of our clients, so buyers and commissioners of events, and people that we knew in the industry also bought and commissioned events outside of our existing client scope as well. And we got around 60 people into a think tank, which is our anonymous online focus group, where we posed a number of scenarios and questions and got their input. So it was important to us to get people from across the range. We got people from sports, from corporate, from public events, and everything in between to really give us their opinion on how they felt as humans, but also as commissioners of events. And I think the big line coming out of the results was both kind of reassuring in as much as it's where we're feeling, but also quite surprising in some cases. And I think the four key themes we pulled out of it, and we can chat about these in a bit, is about the need to give our audiences reassurance in what we're doing to make them safe in the events world when we bring them back to our events. And also justifying our reason to be there, which is a hot topic right now. We have developed even further the virtual capabilities that were existing. It's accelerated so much over the last 12 months that we now have a viable alternative on our communications mix, much more viable than it's ever been. So we need to justify the cost in every factor of bringing people together for a live event, and also respecting our audiences by giving them a choice and also giving them control of the agenda as well. So a number of key themes around there, and the fact that this isn't going to be a linear thing. This is going to be a journey for all of us, both from an audience and an organizer perspective.
That's really interesting. I've got the document open here, and it says, quite clearly in big bold letters, "Don't call this a comeback." What do you actually mean by that?
Don't call it a comeback. Absolutely. A nod to LL Cool J, but also the fact that this isn't going to be straightforward. Okay, this isn't going to be a switch that's been flicked on and off. We're not going to go back to 2019 in terms of how we use live events, the number of live events that are going to be taking place, and also the experiences that we create. We've come on a journey, and it'd be really churlish of us to not take those learnings that we've made over the last 12 months. So we are going to be back. We're going to be back stronger than ever. I think it's a really exciting time. And so do all of the people that participated as well. There's a really bright future for the events industry, but it's going to be different. It's not going to be the same. So it's not going to be a straight comeback from that side.
That's really interesting. Now, you touched a moment ago on reassurance. So just looking at it here, I mean, it's clearly a big thing. A lot of people saying they want to be reassured before they committed to live. Is there anything else you can tell me about that the report reveals?
I think for us, in terms of reassurance, it's about over communicating. And Marty, we know that especially the UK events industry and the events industry as a whole across the world has an exemplary health and safety standard. We're leading in the way that we look after our attendees. We learn lessons and we implement them, and we have very high standards. So we need to make sure that we're communicating that to all of our audiences, that we are looking after them and we are making sure that these are as safe as possible for people to come into, but also reassuring them that it's the right thing to do to come together. so we can bring people into these spaces and make sure that we're creating meaningful engagements. Because the next factor is around how we feel about interacting with each other. And we've seen some great examples about the color-coded lanyards or name badges in terms of how people want to interact. And that's the thing. And something that came up is, imagine you haven't hugged your mum or dad in a year. And then a boss you've hardly met or someone superior comes over to you, arms outstretched. You're going to feel really, really sensitive about that thing. And it's about respecting and reassuring people that you can act as the human being that you want to act in these situations, because we don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable. And it's about we communicate how people should feel and how people should communicate their wishes in terms of how we interact, because it's going to be a tough time for people to come back into the world.
Absolutely. I don't want to kind of give too much away, because we'll, for the benefit of our audience, we'll publish this this research on Conference News, and you'll be able to dive in, and obviously Tim will be able to make the link available as well. Absolutely. I just wanted to pick up on something about, there's a section called giving people a reason to be there. I mean, does this mean that we need to kind of really up our game and make the live experience element part of our event something completely special? Because we still obviously need to engage an online audience too.
Yeah. So I suppose the short answer is yes. I think we've got this opportunity to reset and reimagine how we engage with people in the live format. So giving people a reason to be there, it's about showing them that the experience that they will have, and us creating the experience, is going to be something that they can only experience by getting on a plane, train, car, coming into that environment. It's an experience or a learning opportunity that they won't be able to get in a virtual environment. And making sure that we're honest with ourselves in terms of why we're bringing people together and what we're using the live experience for. I think one of the things I've seen read is, a virtual event is a great substitute for a bad event. And I think that's really disrespectful to both. I think the reality is that you can have bad events and you can have bad virtual events, but the thing that links them both is bad content and bad experience. And it's about working really hard to make sure that we give people a rich virtual experience and a live event experience that can only be live. And that's why we're bringing people together.
And this is nothing to be feared, is it? I mean, you and I were talking before I pressed record, and I think we both agree that this isn't necessarily a new normal. The industry was going this way anyway. This is a natural part of the sector's evolution.
Absolutely, Marty. Look, it's been 20 years I've worked in this industry, a little bit over, and I've never been so excited about the future. We have a genuine partner in the virtual and digital world that can come on this journey with us as we continue to evolve live engagement. We can use both mediums to their strengths and make sure that the live experience is around a human-centered experience that can only be done when we're in the room. We can make sure the rich virtual experience is a real genuine opportunity for content dissemination, learning, and deep knowledge retention. Bringing both of those together, I think we've got such a brilliant future ahead. And honestly, I've never been so excited.
That's great stuff. And I'm looking forward to meeting up with you for a beer in no time at all. It's going to be great.
Soon, I hope.
Good stuff. Okay, everyone. Well, Tim, thank you so much for chatting. And everyone else, the report will be available on Conference News and through WRG's social media channels, I'm sure, as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed.